Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the Cold Fusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community.
Hello and welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition. It is August 8th, 2023. This is episode 201. My name is Eric Peterson, a senior developer at Orta Solutions, and with me is Mr. Daniel Garcia, another senior developer at Orta Solutions.
That's right, 8-8. This would be very lucky if we were in another country.
What country would that be?
Isn't 8 a lucky number in China?
That's why I'm asking. I don't know.
Asia somewhere? Man, culture. I bet
Don't worry,
David
somebody
Bellinger
will
in the chat would know.
Yeah, somebody will correct us in the chat. So welcome. This is our new bi-weekly edition. If you missed us last week, the week before we had our grand 200th episode. We are 2 or 3 hosts fewer than that one, but we're still glad to be here.
But we make up for it in enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Sheer gumption. We would also like to thank our sponsor, Orta Solutions, the makers of all your favorite box products. You can say thank you in a few ways, like liking and subscribing these videos on YouTube, starring and forking our repos on GitHub, subscribing to this podcast in your podcast app of choice, and leaving us a great review, signing up for a free or paid account on CFcasts, purchasing some awesome swag from our Box Life store, or learn modern CFML in 100 minutes.
Sorry, I'm getting those links out there.
Finally,
Absolutely, I've said before, I've read that book and I highly recommend it. 102 ColdBox HMVC quick tips and tricks. I'm sorry I cut you off, Eric. And how else can they support us?
They can also support us by joining our Patreon. We have 40 amazing Patreon supporters. That's your adjective for the week, is amazing.
Amazing.
Causing amazement and awe. You can learn more at patreon.com/ortasolutions, and we'll tell you more about it here at the end of some news and announcements.
Yeah, so coming up, passing the baton, the Lucy 5.4 and Hibernate ORM. So as of Lucy 5.4.18, the Lucy builds no longer include the Hibernate extension. Ortus has forked it and taken that over, and they are no longer including it, but you can get it from us. We are actively supporting it, improving on it, making it better, making it the best darn ORM extension you could ever want.
Yeah, Michael Boren here at Ortus has put in a lot of work there, getting it up to, more recent versions of Hibernate. He's got some great stats on the article that we'll link to, including the fact that an ORM reload is 50% faster than anything that was bundled with Lucy. This is also just a slight warning because this was dropped in Lucy 5.4, which Lucy does consider that second number to be their major versions. So make sure to check the the upgrade notes, so you don't upgrade to Lucy 5.4 and think, why is nothing working? So you can check out that ORM extension. We got great docs for it, and also you can just install it from Forgebox into your Lucy server.
Absolutely. And great job, Michael.
Okay, on to some other new releases and updates. Which I just realized are out of order in my thing. There we go. New releases and updates. A lot of your favorite box products got some updates these last couple weeks. Let's start off with the granddaddy box, which is ColdBox.
old box.
ColdBox 7.1 was released. It has some new features and improvements. There are scheduled task debuggings now. So when you define a task in your scheduled task, you can add a debug true argument, and that will log out a whole bunch of extra data for you to be able to catch what is going on those scheduled tasks when they're running, and help you to get it tuned exactly how you want.
That's very handy. I've been looking forward to that.
Yeah, anything that's ran asynchronously, sometimes you just need it to be like, tell me everything, even overkill. There is a new test box matcher when you use the ColdBox base test case to redirect to. So I pushed Luis to put this. So instead of checking the relocate struct that is stuffed inside of the RC scope, now you can just say, hey, I expect this event to relocate to this event, and it's a much nicer read. Finally, in our REST handler, we have a new convention where you can do a on. If your exception was validation exception, it would say on validation exception, which is maybe not the best word, and you'll want to change your type, but that's okay. If you put that in, it will get called if that's the exception that's thrown from your REST handler, and you can catch that in your own and be able to do whatever you want with it instead of having to override the around handler and lose that upgrade path. So use quick on type mismatch exception. So sky's the limits. That was thanks to our own Gavin Pickin. So next time he's on the podcast, you can jump in the chat and be like, Gavin, thank you.
He's very dry, doesn't like repeating himself.
Don't blame him. You can find out more on our blog talking about the release, or as always, on the ColdBox documentation. There is a What's New section at the top. Okay.
Sweet. So coming up, I know that you're pretty excited about this one, I think, Eric. I've got a release of TestBox version 5.2 and version 5.3.
That's right. So nice, quality of life stuff in TestBox, and a huge one, which I still haven't dived into yet. But let's start with the quality of life stuff. There's faster performance when you're using dynamic mix-ins. That happens whenever you're going to mock things. So that's always great to get better performance. And some more control with the bundles pattern. If you are initializing TestBox with a specific bundle, that's usually done by our runners. If you use the templates, the runner. Introducing TestBox Modules. So this is something we've been pushing for a while because, when you make a testing like a package, an addition, it doesn't actually hook into TestBox. So snapshot testing once. It's all like, okay, you've done it. That's great. Now go add all these mappings yourself and register these matchers yourself. And so it's better than nothing, but it could be better. And that's what TestBox modules have for us. So you're able to now hook into TestBox. You're able to listen to lifecycle methods to run at certain times, contribute matchers. And it's just starting out. So we'd love your feedback too, things that you feel like might be missing. And you better believe I'm going to be going to some of these box. So.
Yeah, you already got about a couple dozen modules already that you want to start hooking in?
For TestBox, I can think of 3 for sure. But you mentioned it. On some of them, I have some testing helpers. Like Hyper, I just added a bunch. I wonder how you can be both a ColdBox and a TestBox module. There needs to be more time in the day, Daniel. So, also some great bug fixes with some query compatibility and CB streams, as well as making to be instance of be able to handle Java types better. So that was all 5.2. 5.3 comes out as well. We get some new nice matchers and expectations. You want to tell us about those, Daniel?
Yeah, so we got a to be in and to be in with case expectations. So if you want to basically look for a needle within a string or an array, you can use the to be in expectation, or if you want to look at the target, you can do that as well. So I guess I don't use these. This is obviously an improvement over what we used to do. I suspect this was some. Now we rolled them in.
There was a to include that would I think use find. There wasn't anything that did it with case. So this is kind of just adding that to be explicit, like, hey, I want to find this string in here. So, and include would also use handle arrays as well. So there was a little bit of overlap there. So,
Sure. And we got some awesome new matchers for things like, to start with case, starts with case, all things you can start using now. Make it a little bit easier to do your tests.
Yeah. I mean, for me, whenever my test is expect and then there's some big chunk of code and then it says to be true at the end, or to be false, there's something better we could do there. There's a matcher that can do that. So this is one of those. Instead of being like expect left of this string and 4 characters to be, I don't know, I said 4. Um, what's 4-letter word? No, let's not do that. But instead of doing that now, you can just say expect string to start with, ColdBox.
Test
So,
is a 4-letter word.
Test. There you go. Thank you for saving me. You have those same matchers for the string end to end with case. So lots of new, just helpful matchers. And remember now with Forgebox Modules, it's easier than ever to add your own custom matchers in. I think I have a little library of matchers, and so I just need to have that hook in automatically. It'd be so nice.
Or we just add that to like Testbox 5.4 or something. Slip it in there.
Yeah, I have to see if they're any useful to everybody, or if it's just me being opinionated, as I sometimes am.
I don't know, man. In my experience, Eric, if they're useful to you, they're probably useful to everybody.
Well, they're probably useful, but they might be too opinionated, So.
Well, you are very opinionated. That is true.
That is true. So that's Testbox 5.2 and 5.3. Some great stuff there. Luis has been on fire.
Yes, he has. And another product update, Ortus Redis extension version 3 has updates the underlying Redis Java driver from 2.9.3 to 4.4.3. Seems like a really big jump. Added SSL username support to the Redis cluster cache config and username support to the Redis cache non-cluster config. So if you're using Lucy, this is really the best way of doing that.
Yeah. So this gives you full compatibility with standalone Redis as well as AWS's Elasticache configuration. So great updates there. Thank you to Mr. John Clausen for those. Lucy Script Runner has been updated. Zach posted about this one. So the Lucy Script Runner is basically running Lucy headless, no browser. If you just need to do some things on the command line, Lucy uses it for their GitHub actions. So they have some new features that let you override the Lucy version using a query string, compile all the code under a specified web root, and support for Windows runners. And they have some examples in their extension repos.
Very nice. I'll post that link. And Scott in the chat, hey, Scott, says sometimes it's better to conform to a well thought out opinion than to try to be clever or reinvent the wheel. Who are you talking to, Scott?
That might come up later. Who knows? To talk about some webinar and meetups.
Absolutely. So in case you missed it, last month with a CF scheduled task with Charlie Earhart, more than you know and should, as usually the case with Charlie. He's very informative and you'd be well to attend these sessions, talking all about the CF casts. And we've got the link, so you can go back and I believe the recording's there.
Yes, it is. Yep, I linked straight to the recording actually. So
awesome. And then we have for this month, August 25th, Takata. I say our very own, meaning our community's very own, and the royal we. Because Mark is our CF evangelist.
He is. Now, GraphQL, was that added in 2023? Is that right? I believe it was. So I have not seen that. I'd be curious. Back when GraphQL was a bigger buzzword, did try to look into how to do it with just plain CFML, utilizing some Java libraries that people already written. And it just seemed like a pain because you're having to support this completely different language and parse these new GraphQL files, call the right code. I mean, it's like writing a language. Not to mention, performance could be tricky because the GraphQL side of it, when they request data, they can request whatever they want, and it doesn't mean it's the best way to grab it from the database. So I'd be interested to see how Adobe has tackled that and what tools they've given. So,
well, in the chat, John Barrett, hey John, says it was added in 2023. Also, I know Mark is very passionate about GraphQL, talks about it a lot. So it should be a really good session. Also, David commented that our video looks a little blurry, or maybe that's just how I look. But
well, hopefully we get a good recording as well, even if the live one is a little blurry. Sorry about that. We can blame Comcast. So,
dude, but your connection was exceptional. You told me yourself.
that's what it told me at first. Maybe it's lying. YouTube's lying to me.
Lies. David Bellinger said it's blurry here too. Yeah, but you're like a continent away, so.
Alrighty. So yes, that's Friday, August 25th at 12 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time.
I had not seen that before.
Acronym. So, okay, we got some Adobe events coming up as well. Only 2 listed on their website right now, probably because for September, I'd assume they're going to gear up for CF Summit. So tomorrow, there is a Adobe Cold Fusion workshop online with Brian Sappy. That's at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. This is a one-day training that you can join to explore all the major features in the latest release, how to use CFML, constructs and functions, code reuse, basic database operations, kind of a get to know Cold Fusion. That is tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, thank you. And then at the end of the month, on August 25th, we have exploring the new Google Cloud Platform features, which I believe is coming in the next. Is Fortuna the next version of Cold Fusion?
I think so. At least that's the word I've been hearing.
So this is from Mark Takata. Free event Friday, August 25th, 10 a.m. Pacific. So maybe one of these days we'll just convert all the time zones to
Chicago.
No, that's not the true time zone. No, I'm just kidding. UTC. No, I'm just kidding. That would probably make everybody more sad. So yes, 10 a.m. Pacific, Friday, August 25th.
Right on. Okay, so coming up, CFcast content updates. So I think we announced this before, but Into the Box 2023 videos are available for purchase as an exclusive premium package. And if you came to Into the Box, you should have that as ready. You should have gotten the coupon code in their email. If you came and did not, please reach out to us and let us know.
Current subscribers that did not attend Into the Box, you can either purchase it to get access right away, or this is about a 6-month exclusive, and then you'll have access just as a normal subscriber. So we're still working on some new series coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, enjoy all of that beautiful Into the Box 2023 content.
That should keep you busy for a while, people.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some conferences coming up. There's a big one here in October that one of us is speaking at. Not that I'm bitter.
Oh, man. Fine, I guess I'll talk about it. So Adobe CF Summit West in Las Vegas, October 2nd through 4th in October. I am speaking there.
Woo!
So I'm talking about, I know, I wish you were, Eric. I'm talking about Content Box and how it relates to as a viable option for WordPress, but also we've got Gavin and Brad and the Mahano. Luis will be speaking there as well. And so come out and see us. Eric, are you going to come out?
You know, I'm not sure. They did offer most of the, I'm hoping all, because now I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth, or I guess stick foot in their mouth. I don't know. The analogy's falling apart. But they offered speakers who did not get accepted a free ticket to come. Still got to pay for the hotel, pay for food, pay for flights.
Don't think you can sleep on, Gavin's bathtub or Brad's bathtub. Or I'd offer to let you sleep in my bathtub, but my family's coming with me to Vegas. I don't think I give him the choice, come to Vegas or have a birthday party. He's turning 10, and he's like, Vegas, Dad. He's also never flown on an airplane before, so I think he might be more excited about that than anything.
Usually I can find tickets under $100 round trip from Utah, but still finding the time to come. So we'll see. We will see.
Hopefully. We definitely missed you last year. If you could have just hitchhiked faster last year.
I mean, yeah, I will never book a Spirit flight again. That's for sure.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. You know who else can get a free ticket? If you are a student enrolled at a college or a university which I am learning now is called a tertiary level education institution. You can get a free pass, contact Adobe, and they will hook you up for that.
Hey, I'm enrolled at a tertiary level education institution.
You already have a free pass for speaking.
Oh, that's true. Never mind.
I do believe they also on their doing a giveaway in August, so that you can. I don't know if it's a giveaway just for the ticket or also lodging, but keep track of that for sure.
They did have a giveaway in July. I saw the winner. I saw it on the Facebook because that's still Facebook, right? They didn't change that name.
No,
It's Meta. So Meta. I'd have to like look for the Adobe. But I saw the social media post.
yeah, somebody did win in July, and they said they had one more they were going to do in August. So
Max Krebitz, enjoy your free stay at the Mirage.
okay, so they are covering lodging as well. So
Yeah. So register for a chance to win Summit between August 1st, 31st for a free stay.
there you go.
I will paste that right now into the. It's not in the show notes, but
I guess I need to go do that now since I'm not speaking.
dude, I feel so.
I'm fine. I am sad, but I also there's great speakers coming, and I kind of feel for Adobe. They probably had to be like, well, we can't have just Ortus people speaking. We have to choose some of them.
Well, to be fair, I unofficially heard that Gavin was like 10% of the submissions this year. 20% of the submissions.
Oh, that's fun.
I guess if you cast an extremely wide net, Eric, your chances go up exponentially.
I did have, I think, 7, but it's fine. They will come around again.
Yeah, Gavin had 20, I think.
Yeah, I did not have that many.
He wanted to out Nolan. So
Nolan, if you're listening, let us know how many you submitted. All right, right after Adobe Summit, October 4th and 5th, is our Ortus CF Summit training. It is ColdBox 7 0 to Hero. So you get to come learn all the new awesome features of ColdBox 7, as well as becoming a hero in it, being able to build an app with ColdBox. They're going to talk about handlers, views, models, database, APIs, the whole
REST?
suite.
Oh, you said APIs.
Yes. So available until August 18th is our early bird price. So go jump on that today on Eventbrite. Or you wonderful listeners, if you use the discount code Modernize, you can get a 25% discount on that. This is a 2-day training. Lunch is provided. It's going to be great. You'll be taught by two of the best, Luis Mahano and Gavin Pickin. So hope to see you there at our ColdBox 7 0 to Hero training.
And says the spotlight, it's less than 2 miles from the Raj, or a 30-minute walk. It should be like a 6-minute Uber for me. Actually, I'm not going this year. I got to come back, but I'm not doing the training I'm at this year.
Right.
But it's close to the Marriott. 5-minute walk to Fogo de Chao. I feel like if you go to Fogo de Chao, you need more than 5 minutes to walk that off. 5 minutes to Starbucks and Lolo's Chicken and Waffles. What?
It's somewhere special to Gavin, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we hope to see you there. It's going to be an incredible training. I believe the first training that is ColdBox 7 as the base. So
Absolutely.
something for everybody there. All right, okay. So that takes us through October, and we have a couple of teasers coming up, I guess.
Over at the University of Business in El Salvador. It is our Into the Box Latin American edition conference, but it's still, I want to get out there one of these years. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I know they are working furiously at getting all the pieces into play, and so hope there's tickets for that. Finally, we've talked about the dates for Into the Box 2024. It is May 15th through 17th. Down locations, and now I am stalling for a second because I think I got some news that I forgot to put in here. Where is it? It will be in Washington, D.C. We are pinning down the venue. So Washington, D.C. this May. Hope to see you all there. I'm excited. I got to live in D.C. for a few years. I mean, at this point, it's 15 years ago, but it still just holds a special place in my heart. So
Nice.
I'm
I've only
excited to
been
go back.
DC once or twice. I actually got to sing in DC once back in 2005. My barbershop chorus, we did the Fraternal Order Police Memorial Service. We're right in front of the Capitol. President Bush was there. We sang. It was pretty darn cool.
That's awesome.
Really nice memory. It was cool. It's kind of funny though with the cities, because at Into the Box we're talking about several cities. It feels like this is like the Olympic selection committee, because it was like Chicago was thrown out there, which I was like, woohoo! And then they're like, no, Boston and Washington, and I'm like, Grant, say Nashville. Let's come down and party with you. And
Hey, every time we talk about moving it, I throw out Utah. I will do the legwork, but then everybody goes, no one wants to come to Utah in the summer, which is fair.
I've thrown out.
We got an international airport. You can all come here.
Yeah, I've never been. I hear it's nice.
It is nice, but May would be nice. It wouldn't be too hot yet.
I told my wife about that DC was the candidate, and she's like, ooh, I want to come to that too. I'm like, we're already taking our son out of school for Vegas. I don't think we get away with taking him out for DC.
Well, May, that's like close to the end of school. Might not matter. May 15th through 17th, I know, is the last week of school for my kids.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I think he goes to the end of May.
Oh, yeah.
And he and I both start next week.
Oof. Same with my kids. I'm so
tomorrow.
excited. Don't tell them, but I'm very excited.
Well, Grant was going to co-host today, and then he's like, oh, shoot, today's my kid's first day of school, and it's a madhouse. I'm not going to make it.
Yeah. We'll get you your Grant time next week, or 2 weeks, folks.
2 weeks.
Okay, so that wraps up conferences. Unless you are still starved for them, in which case comms.tech has got you covered. Go check out almost any kind of conference that you want to attend on comms.tech.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, this is not find a job time. This is this
Blog.
one. Blogs, tweets. I need a new logo that crosses it out with a big ol' X. Blogs, X's, and videos of the week. What do we call X posts now? Just posts?
I think they're just called posts.
The dumbest rename in the. Anyways,
Oh, it is. I don't. Yeah, we shouldn't talk about it because then I feel it's going to get very critical, and we'll
get all of the Elon Musk apologists coming out to us. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Already have done it. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Ben Nadal considering UTC and recording activity streak data in Cold Fusion. So Ben starts out this with something that I've always thought is kind of the accepted wisdom, which is if you store date time and always convert that time and show it to zone somebody's entering data from. And I think that works for the most part. Ben gives an interesting example here in his fitness app. What is it called? Dig Deep Fitness, where he wants to do streaks that say, hey, this is what you did today. If you had a workout in the morning, workout in the evening, it kind of falls apart if you're comparing UTC dates, where it might have been the same day on the Eastern time zone, but it's not the same day UTC. So he goes through here, and you can go check how he is handling that and using local time zones in this case instead of not UTC. So kind of comes back to the old programming adage that the answer is it depends.
Yeah, but what if my streak, maybe I'm working out. Well, not me working out, but what if somebody's working out from like 11:30 p.m. to like 12:30 a.m.?
You can check out the article and see what he has to say about that, for sure.
I'm just going to use UTC.
We have an X post from Mr. Brad Wood. He has set up some automated command box server tests. So now with a single task runner, he can fire off hundreds of tests, making sure that all of the different ways that you can configure your server.json still work. Very much needed. That all the server JSON stuff is getting very complicated and powerful.
Excuse you.
Okay, back to Ben. We have some auto-saving form data in the background using the Fetch API. So again, this is coming from his Dig Deep Fitness. In fact, I believe all of his posts from the last couple weeks are about that. And he is exploring what it would look like to have in the form, have something happen. Maybe it's either, you accidentally hit refresh, you lose your connection, your CSRF token expires. You don't want to lose the data that you've been putting in there. And so Ben explores here using the fetch API to, on some regular interval, commit an autosave based on that form. I believe he's just posting it right back to the same endpoint and just kind of keeping it, having that endpoint manage both the autosave and the I've submitted this form. So yeah, some neat ideas there. Check out the article for the details. It did make me think of a couple other things. One, I think I've usually used local storage for this. So just on a regular interval, like on Blur with a 500 millisecond debounce, I'll save the data off, to local storage, and then when they submit the form, clear it out. I also, have you ever heard of beacons?
I have not.
So beacons, I thought actually I learned this from a Ben article, but maybe I didn't. Beacons are a way of sending data from a browser, but that doesn't block any threads. It's mostly used for analytics data, but it's not limited to that. It's a way for your application to say, I need to send this data to my website. I want it to be sent asynchronously. The user doesn't need to know about it. And even if they switch pages, I want this to happen. And so beacons are a way to do that. It's just a post request to your server with some data. So
never heard of that.
So yeah, there's a lot of great options for this. Check out Ben's for the way he did his, and if you're interested, we can put in the links to beacons and local storage as well. All ways to solve this problem.
I feel like this is something that's been around for a really long time, and Ben's just kind of looking at it anew.
Yeah,
so I remember this, and I use jQuery.
Yeah, he did have a little section at the bottom of this about people who don't like fetch as much as the old like jQuery Ajax, and there's some points to it. Fetch can be okay, but I wouldn't say it's great. It is built in though, and it's better than starting your own XHR sessions and all that. So we'll take it.
This is where Eric's like, I acknowledge that you have an opinion.
I can kind of agree with it. It's like, is fetch the best built-in one?
Oh, absolutely. Isn't the only built-in one?
I mean, you can open up your own XHR session and add in all the right handlers and listeners, but
I just use jQuery. It's easy.
You can use jQuery. You can use Axios. You can wrap fetch yourself. So, all ways to work on that. Well, we got one more Ben article. You want to take us through it?
Yep. So Ben's saying his ColdFusion controller, in quotes, layer is just a bunch of switch statements and CF includes. So actually, let me pull it up here. So as he's working through everything, Eric, the one I didn't get to.
Dig Deep Fitness. Ben is taking the chance to kind of build up his own framework here. I don't know if he would call it a framework, but he's building up his own framework. That you either are using someone else's framework or building your own. There's not anything that's no framework. Anyway, I think this is a neat idea because it's a good way, like Wirebox or DI1 would be. Here he's building a router and controller kind of put into one. So yeah, I mean, I've done exercises like this too, where I'm like, I want to try working like this and see how this goes. I will say that reading through his code here, what it does for me is makes me really appreciate and he makes the point like you don't need as much when you have a smaller app. I love having all the stuff that ColdBox gives me, even for my dinky little apps.
Oh yeah, because your little app may not stay for long.
So, and Ben's not advocating against frameworks for sure. And I would, I've built things from scratch too. Try to rebuild part of ColdBox just to see how it works and why certain decisions were made. So come through this and you can see kind of how to make a controller and a routing layer. And I'm excited to see his little framework keep growing up and to the point where he's like, wow, I wish I had modules. And then we say, haha, ColdBox.
This reminds me vaguely of like a version of Fusebox from a long time ago.
Yeah.
Except in script.
Yay.
Modernization.
Modernization.
I'd rather just use something like ColdBox and then spend my time thinking about the important issues like UTC dates in the database.
Yeah. Again, I think it's fun to be able to work on those things, especially I think I finally understood Wirebox when I tried to build something like Wirebox. And it's like, oh, that's why all of this exists. So definitely cool. Come along for the ride and learn about his controller and routing layers.
Mm-hmm. I love how he always gives like very involved examples too, and you can copy paste this stuff and start playing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about finding a job. On Get CFML Jobs, there were 2 jobs listed in the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
There are currently 85 jobs across 56 companies. In 39 full-time position, it's an SIS New Cold Fusion C1. That's maybe the strangest name I've heard. This one is in Maharashtra, India. And we have a Cold Fusion developer in Washington, D.C. So if you get that job, you will be right by into the box and you can come next year with no problems.
Do you paste those? Want me to paste them? I'll paste them. Hang on 1 second.
Once again, there's also a jobs channel in both the CFML Slack team and the Box team Slack as well. So you can, if you are looking for a job, join either of those and you can view the listings there or even just ask around for who's looking to hire.
Matt, and I don't know. I was trying to look at the link and I still don't know. But it sounds cool.
Okay, let's talk about the Forgebox module of the week. Vite and the ColdBox Vite helpers. So technically only ColdBox Vite helpers is a Forgebox module. Be able to use Vite very easily in your ColdBox apps. The Vite helper will let you load in the files that are created by Vite, either running it through the dev server or the production built files. Very easy to use. At that point, you just have to throw the paths that you want to load into an array. It will load each of them from the right location with the right preload tags. All that work done for you. Vite is a bundling tool, kind of similar to Webpack or even ColdBox Elixir. I think this is probably the next evolution of ColdBox Elixir. The build tools that are using it, and also anything that kind of needs to do things a little more bespoke, a little more custom, because Vite is very opinionated. For instance, ColdBox Elixir, you can copy files, move files, do things like that. None of that exists in Vite. Vite is like, tell me where your JavaScript or CSS starts, and then I'll handle everything from that point on. So
that's not a bad thing.
But it's very fast. Very fast. I love that part about it. So you can check that out. The Vite helpers is on Forgebox, and ColdBox Vite plugin is to that because I forgot that. All right. Do you want to tell us about our VS Code hint, tip, and trick of the week?
Yep, we've got Headwind by Ryan Hayborn. It's an opinionated Tailwind CSS in the code, reprinting class tags, following given order. Basically helps you remove duplicate classes. It could even sort your workspace. So if you just start coding, get a bunch of stuff everywhere, it's going to help you get organized when you're using Tailwind CSS, which I don't use Tailwind CSS, but if I were, I don't do a lot of front end, Eric.
Any front end should use Tailwind. I'm kind of obsessed. That's one of the ones sessions I put into CF Summit, and every conference I apply to, I'm like, let me talk about Tailwind, and nobody's let me yet.
Oh man, maybe they don't know what it is.
So we talked about Headwind probably 3 years ago, if I remember looking at it right. But Tailwind is. And one of the complaints it often gets is, oh, look, all these classes, how do I keep them in order? How do I know what's there? Well, this will help you. The other thing it will do is if you put in a class that's like twice on accident, it'll just take one of those. As well, and this is your bonus VS Code extension, the official Tailwind IntelliSense plugin. If you ever put a utility that applies the same CSS property in two different utilities, it will highlight them and be like, hey, you said, you want the background to be red 500, but then later you said you wanted the background to be red 300. That does the same thing. You probably want to choose one or the other. So some neat things like that. And one day, one conference will let me talk about Tailwind, and you'll be able to see in my sessions how amazing it is.
Have you ever tried talking to it into the box, Eric?
I put it in there, but it never gets chosen. I mean,
really?
Well, at the end of Into the Box, we're trying to trim down the 5 sessions we want from every one of us down to 2, so we don't kill ourselves. So
what I'm hearing is you want to talk about it, you're just not passionate enough about it Into the Box to want to talk about it.
Ooh, rough. No, there's other people that want me to talk about other things.
That's
new
fair.
things, awesome things, CBQ, Playwright, QB.
Megaphone.
There's a lot. So one day.
I can appreciate your CBQ even more. I was doing my AWS stuff that we've been doing, and they were talking about SQS. I'm like, I know what this is now because I've been working with Eric's CBQ.
I still need to finish writing that plugin, the CBQ SQS driver. It's on my list.
Looking forward to it.
It's on my list when somebody pays me to do it. It'll happen. Alrighty. Well, podcast today and talking about our amazing Patreon supporters.
Amazing.
You want to tell everybody a bit about what becoming a Patreon can get them?
Absolutely. So everyone that becomes a Patreon, your content box, test box, Eric box, you can probably, with all your modules that you do. If you sign up, bronze packages and up, get a Forgebox Pro and CFCast subscription. All Patreon supporters have a profile badge on the community website, and you have a private forum access on that community website, as well as their own private channel across the Box Team Slack. And don't forget, we have annual memberships where you pay for the year and save 10%, which is, it says great for businesses, but I think it's great for everybody, because who doesn't want to save 10%?
That's fair. Great for everyone. We can just put a strike out through that text and everyone. Okay, now we'll know.
Except you crossed out everyone as well.
Fixed.
There we go.
Well,
we've got a shared doc that we use during the show to keep ourselves, organized, and it works very well.
As organized as we appear to be. Well, let's read off, but reading all your names got just too long for our podcast. So here are tomorrow's guides: Jordan Clark, Gary Knight, Giancarlo Gomez, David Bellinger, Dan Carr, Jeffrey McGee with Sunstar Media, Dean Monder, Kevin Wright, Doug Kane, Nolan Irk, and Abdul Raheen. Thank you, and thank you to all of the other Patreons as well, and all of you for listening and joining in with our podcast today. And thank you to Daniel Garcia for the sound effects.
I got a new toy, Eric.
You got to play with it. I totally get it. Thank you, everybody. We will
stop. Sorry.
The hype horn should have come earlier with test box modules or something.
I know. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you all, everybody. We will see you in 2 weeks on August 22nd.
2 semanas.
See ya.
Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. Multi-free license from sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.